It begins in the quiet, a stillness that lives beneath the skin, waiting. You do not feel it at first. There is only a sense that something has shifted, as if a soft curtain has been drawn across your thoughts. Your limbs feel heavier, your eyes dim slightly, and the world moves slower. This is the language of fever, not shouted, but whispered gently from within. Fever is not the enemy it once was thought to be. It is a song of warning, a signal from your body that something has entered which does not belong. It is ancient, older than memory, older than the written word. It is a message spoken not in letters but in warmth. Long ago, people believed fever was fire sent from angry gods. They prayed to cool the skin, they bathed in cold rivers, they sang to the stars hopping to draw out the heat. But the body had its own reasons even then. Fever is the rising tide of protection. It pulls warmth through blood, into the heart, into the bones, into the quiet cells that do their work without praise. Inside your body, tiny watchers called immune cells move like gentle guards. When they sense trouble, they send signals and the body answers with heat, not to punish but to fight. Heat slows invaders, melts their strength. It awakens the body's quiet army. The fever is the trumpet sound and the healing begins. Even animals feel it. A sick bird lifts its wings to the sun. A lizard finds a warm rock and stays there, soaking in the day. They do not read books, but they understand warmth brings healing. Your body knows this too, even if you forget. In the soft cradle of warmth, white blood cells move faster. Chemicals made for defense are stirred like wind in tall grass. These cells do not hate, they do not rush in anger. They simply know their duty. They move through the bloodstream like clouds passing overhead, looking, sensing, touching. When they find something wrong, they send a call and fever answers. Scientists used to fear fever. For many years, doctors tried to crush it, fearing it would burn the body from the inside. They gave ice baths, bitter herbs, cold sheets, and sometimes it helped, for too much heat is dangerous. But over time, they learned to listen. Fever was not the sickness itself, but a sign that the body was working. A whisper, not a scream. A message, not a curse. They began to ask new questions. What if the fever is not the fire, but the spark that lights the healing? Now we understand more. The brain has a small part, deep and round like a smooth stone, called the hypothalamus. It is the body's quiet temperature keeper. It watches the blood, listens to chemical signals. When the immune cells send news of an invader, the hypothalamus turns up the heat just a little. It is careful, gentle. The blood warms. Muscles shiver to create more heat. You feel chills, not because you are cold, but because your body is heating from within. It is a sacred kind of warmth, made not by the sun, but by your own blood and bone. Imagine your body as a forest. Every cell is a tree. Every drop of blood is rain. When sickness arrives, it is like a sudden storm, strange winds, cold shadows. But the fever is like a sunrise after the dark. It brings light back to the trees, stirs the branches. The immune cells rise like birds from their nests, ready to fly. In the warmth, they see clearer, move swifter. Fever clears the morning fog from the healing path. Even as you lie still, your body is dancing with invisible music. There is purpose in the warmth. And still, it is not always easy. Fever comes with aches and weariness. It is a slow tide that can soak the bones, make rest feel like a heavy stone. But even this heaviness is part of the message, a way of saying, be still. The body asks for rest so it can work unseen. The more you sleep, the harder it works. Cells stitch and repair. Proteins unfold like petals. In your dreams, healing happens. Fever hums like a quiet song behind the curtain of your thoughts. You wake and it has done its work. Through time, we learned how to help it. Not to silence, but to guide. Warm fluids, gentle blankets, soft hands on the forehead. Not all fevers are safe, of course. Some burn too hot, some need calming. But in most, the heat is not danger. It is the body's voice speaking without words. Parents learn this when children sleep with warm cheeks and distant eyes. They wait, they listen, they trust the body's ancient rhythm. A child stirs, the fever fades, and healing leaves behind a breath of peace. Even in ancient medicine, healers saw this. In China, they spoke of qi, the life energy, and how fever moved it. In Africa, healers burned leaves to drive away not just spirits, but sickness. In Europe, Sweat lodges and warm broths were used to chase away the bad humors. They may not have known cells or viruses, but they knew the body was wise. Fever was never just heat. It was a message. Today, under microscopes, we see what they could only dream. We watch cells touch each other, share chemicals, pass tiny messages. We see the virus trying to hide, the cell sending out a signal, the temperature rising in response. And still, even with all our tools, we cannot replace the quiet brilliance of the fever. It is one of the body's oldest songs. Every child sings it at least once. Every animal hums it in its own way. It is as old as breath. So when you feel the warmth rise, when your skin glows and your thoughts blur like mist over water, remember, something ancient is working inside you. The fever is not the sickness. It is the soft fire of healing. It is your body remembering what to do, even when you do not understand. It is not shouting, it is whispering in warmth. Let it whisper, let it work. Now let us drift deeper, into the warm shadows where the body remembers how to heal. Fever is only one part of the story, just the flicker at the edge of a flame. Beneath the heat, more ancient rhythms stir, pulses of memory held in each cell, secrets passed from generation to generation like soft-spoken prayers. Healing is not a single act. It is 1,000 invisible gestures woven together over time. A wound closes, a breath clears, a broken cell finds repair. But how does the body know what to do? How does it choose healing over harm? The answers lie in a quiet symphony of cells, each one listening, each one speaking in the language of molecules and light. Inside your bloodstream, immune cells drift like wandering stars. Some are sentinels, always watching. Others are messengers carrying warnings. Still others are fighters trained not with rage but with focus. When an intruder appears, a virus, a bacteria, a damaged cell, the watchers alert the rest. Chemical signals bloom like flowers in the blood, passing from cell to cell, waking the defenders from their rest. But it is not war in the way we imagine. There is no hatred here, no noise. It is more like a dance, a quiet unfolding of purpose. The cells surround the danger. They bind to it. They mark it. Some sacrifice themselves in silence, melting into the stream to block the threat. And all the while the body remembers. Every encounter leaves behind a whisper, a note tucked into the memory of the immune system. These memories are not like yours. They do not form in thoughts or pictures. They live in the shape of a molecule, the curve of a receptor, the way a cell folds when it meets a familiar danger. This is how you stay well most days, not by chance but by remembering. The immune system holds a library of sicknesses past, like a shelf of old stories. It reads them when needed, recalls the steps, the shapes, the smells of enemies long gone. And when they return, it knows what to do. This is why a fever may rise faster the second time. The body is quicker now, smarter. But healing is not only defense, it is also rebuilding. When the danger passes, other cells arrive, soft builders, gentle cleaners. They sweep away the broken pieces. They sew together tissues with threads of protein. They calm the inflammation, they smooth the scar. Some of them release molecules that soothe pain, others signal the brain to bring rest. There is kindness in this work. The body does not punish what is broken, it restores. Even in the smallest cut, you can find this truth. Red cells carry oxygen, white cells remove infection, platelets form the first stitch. And over days, the skin grows whole again as if nothing ever happened. But something did happen, the body learned. Let's drift further into the heart. The bone marrow, deep within your longest bones, is not hard or cold. It is alive, soft and warm like bread dough. Here, blood is born, millions of cells every second flowing outward to take their places. Some will live for days, some for months. Some are destined to fight, others to carry breath. But all begin in the same place, shaped by instructions written in the language of DNA. These instructions are not shouted. They are read softly by enzymes, one letter at a time. And when a sickness comes, the bone marrow responds. It shifts the recipe. It creates more defenders, more healers. It changes to match the need, like a wise baker sensing the change in air. In times long past, healers could not see these cells, but they listened to the body's signs. They noticed when fever was followed by sweat, when cough gave way to quiet, when the trembling stopped and the voice returned. They believed in balances between hot and cold, dry and wet, light and dark. And in a way, they were not wrong. The body seeks balance always. Fever rises, but it also falls. Cells attack, but they also retreat. There is always a return, a softening. That is the art of healing, not just fighting sickness, but finding the center again. Your brain, too, joins this effort. During illness, the brain releases molecules that change how you feel: tiredness, chills, the need for sleep. These are not accidents. They are careful signals designed to protect you. Rest gives your body space to work. Stillness slows the spread of sickness. Even dreams may change, shaped by the body's quiet alarm. And when healing comes, the brain releases other messages, ones of calm, of lightness. A sigh, a smile, the first hunger returning. These are signs that the storm has passed. And so much of healing lives in the places we cannot see. The skin glows a little warmer, the breath deepens, the eyes grow clear. These are signals to others, to caretakers, to loved ones that the healing has begun. Humans have always watched for these signs: a cool forehead, a steady pulse, a voice no longer heavy. In every culture, we respond with touch, with voice, with comfort. A warm bowl of soup, a hand resting gently. These are also part of healing. They are not medicine in the scientific sense, but they stir something deep in the brain. Oxytocin, dopamine, small sparks of safety. The body listens to kindness. It heals faster in warmth. And in this softness, time slows. Healing does not rush. Cells move with purpose, but they do not sprint. The process is like the tide, rising and falling in its own rhythm. 1 hour the fever peaks, another it breaks. One morning the cough fades. By nightfall the appetite returns. These small steps are part of something bigger. Your body is tracing the path back to balance. And though you may not feel it deep inside, millions of tiny hands are at work, stitching, cleaning, rebuilding. So when you rest, when your head sinks into the pillow and the world goes dim, know this: healing does not stop. It continues in silence. It continues in warmth. Fever may no longer burn, but memory remains. The body holds its stories. It keeps them not as scars, but as seeds. And each time you heal, you grow a little wiser, even if you do not remember why. The body remembers for you. Let the story soften now, like a breath after a storm. The fever has passed, but the memory of warmth lingers like a fatting glow. Your body is quieter, slower. You lie still, not in weakness, but in peace. This is the part of healing that often goes unseen, the quiet after, when everything inside you begins to settle. The immune cells that once rushed through your blood now drift gently, their task done. The muscles no longer shiver. The brain no longer burns with signals. Like a forest after rain, your body hums with quiet renewal. It is in this stillness that deep repair begins. The skin, which may have flushed and glistened, cools slowly now. Beneath it, new cells are being made. Blood vessels knit themselves closed, tissues reshape and smooth. The body, ever watchful, now turns from defense to restoration. Proteins fold into perfect shapes. Enzymes sweep away what is no longer needed. This is not just the end of sickness, it is a kind of rebirth. Your body has passed through fire and come out changed, stronger in ways you cannot see, wiser in ways you do not remember. There is a grace to this transformation, and it happens without needing your permission. Throughout time, humans have watched these returns with wonder. In ancient villages, children who rose from fever were seen as blessed. In temples, rituals celebrated the return of health not as luck but as a gift from something greater. Though science has grown since then, the feeling remains. Even now, when a fever fades and the body wakes clean, we often whisper thanks to the medicine, to the body, to the quiet strength that carried us through. Healing may be mapped in textbooks, but it is felt in the soul. In the world of cells, this journey never truly ends. The immune system keeps the memory of what it saw. In bone marrow and lymph nodes, small notes are tucked away, molecular sketches of invaders, blueprints of defense. This is how your body learns. This is why the second illness may be weaker, why the third may never come. It is not magic, it is remembrance. Your immune system is a living storybook, filled with the tales of every battle, every fever, every recovery. each page written not with ink, but with molecules and light. And this story, too, is shared across the generations. When mothers hold their babies, they pass on more than love. In the milk, there are antibodies, tiny pieces of knowledge, soft shields passed down to protect. It is as if the body whispers, "Here is what I've learned. Carry it with you." This quiet sharing is one of life's earliest gifts. Even before we speak, our bodies are teaching each other how to survive. Sometimes illness leaves traces behind: fatigue, weakness, a scar. These are not failures. They are reminders of what has passed, like footprints in soft earth. The body, even as it heals, does not pretend nothing happened. It honors the struggle by remembering. It carries the story not as pain, but as wisdom. And in this way, each fever shapes us not just physically, but deeply. We become more patient, more careful, more aware of our own fragility and our incredible strength. Let us imagine the world now. Billions of bodies, each one carrying the memory of 1,000 tiny sicknesses, 1,000 small victories. A child in Peru wakes up with a bright forehead held by a grandmother's warm hands. A man in Egypt rests in the shade, the fever finally gone. A girl in Japan sips clear broth, her skin pale but calm. All across the earth the story repeats. Sickness arrives, the body responds, healing begins, the fever speaks. The warmth passes, peace returns. And even in the most advanced hospitals with machines and glowing lights, this ancient process is still the same. The cells do their work, the fever rises, the repair begins. Doctors may guide it, support it, ease the pain, but they do not command it. Healing is a whisper from within. Medicine only listens and helps it along. The true miracle lies in the body itself, in its memory, its patience, its quiet determination. As you lie in the soft aftermath of sickness, you may feel emptier, quieter, as if something has been emptied from you. That feeling is not loss. It is space cleared by your body for new strength to grow. The fever did not take from you. It gave. It gave warning. It gave time. It gave the signal to slow down, to rest, to repair. It reminded you of what it means to be made of cells, of water, of light. It reminded you that even in stillness you are alive. And there is something beautiful in that your body, without being told, knew what to do, that it built an army of light, that it raised the temperature to cleanse and defend, that it unfolded proteins like scrolls, cleaned broken tissue like a gentle gardener, that it remembered, that it healed, all without needing to ask. So when the next fever comes, and it surely will, a small one, a gentle one, or something deeper, remember this story. Know that your body has walked this path before. It has crossed through fire and rain. It has faced shadows and emerged glowing. You are not weak when you are sick. You are in motion. You are transforming. You are listening to an ancient rhythm that speaks in warmth and rest and soft repair. The fever speaks not with words, but with warmth. And when it fades, it leaves behind more than a healed body. It leaves behind the quiet knowledge that you are built to recover, again and again. In this, you are never alone. Across time, across continents, across every heartbeat in history, healing has always been the body's most sacred song. Let that song carry you. Let the body remember. Let the warmth fade gently into peace. Your bones are quiet, but they are never still. Beneath your skin, beyond the muscles that stretch and contract, deeper than the blood that flows, your bones are living. They breathe in their own way. They listen. They feel. You may not notice them until they ache or break or whisper pain in the night, but even in perfect stillness, they are awake. Each bone in your body holds the story of every step you've taken, every fall you've endured, every hug you've held too long. They are not cold stone. They are memory. When you are born, your skeleton is soft, almost floating. It bends like branches in spring wind, fragile yet full of life. Over time, that softness becomes strength. Minerals gather like sand pulled by waves, drawn to where the body grows. Calcium, phosphorus, tiny crystals of hardness, they weave into the bone's lattice, shaping the scaffolding that holds you upright. But even as they harden, bones do not stop changing. They are not finished. They are alive, made of cells that build and break and build again. It is in this rhythm, this dance of destruction and renewal, that bones remember. Imagine walking barefoot through the forest. With every step, the bones in your feet receive pressure. The cells inside, called osteocytes, feel that touch and they whisper back to the body, "We are needed here." And so the bones grow stronger where you walk. They shift in response to your movement. A dancer's legs thicken in grace. A builder's hands form sturdy curves. The body listens to your life. It reshapes itself around your choices. This is called mechanotransduction, a long word for something simple. The bones feel what you do, and they remember. Inside each bone is a hidden world. If you could shrink down and step into the center of your femur, you would find vast caverns lined with soft red marrow. Here, blood is born. Stem cells drift like clouds, deciding who they will become: a red blood cell, a white one, a healing platelet. This is not just structure, it is creation. The marrow is a cradle of life. It listens too. If you are hurt, the marrow responds. If you are sick, it shifts. It adjusts its rhythm to meet your needs. It is not silent. It is singing, just too quietly for ears to hear. And bones do not forget injury. A fracture is a wound, but it is also a lesson. When a bone breaks, the cells rush in not just to fix, but to improve. They rebuild stronger, layer upon layer, like a mason learning from the cracks. This is called remodeling, and it continues for your entire life. Even now, your bones are slowly renewing themselves. Tiny cells called osteoclasts carve away the old, while osteoblasts follow behind, laying down new material. You do not feel it, but inside you, each second, millions of repairs are underway. This cycle is guided by hormones and signals that float through your bloodstream like gentle instructions. Parathyroid hormone, vitamin D, estrogen, each plays a role in shaping your skeleton's balance. When the balance tips too far, when old bone is broken down too quickly or not rebuilt in time, illness can follow. Osteoporosis, brittle fractures, the ache of age. But even in these states, the bones are trying. They are responding. They are listening for what you need. In the quiet of night, your bones rest with you, but even in dreams they feel. A shift in position, a sudden motion, the bones adjust. They keep you steady. When you stretch and sleep, the joints release soft gas bubbles that pop like tiny songs. It is your skeleton sighing, stretching, releasing tension it carried while you walked, sat, stood. And when you rise in the morning, those same bones lift you. They do not protest. They remember what you carry. And bones carry more than weight. They hold history. Archaeologists tell us this. They read the stories of people long gone in the shapes of bones, in the worn places, in the healed breaks. A mother's pelvis widened by childbirth. A hunter's arm strong from a lifetime of throwing. A child's legs twisted by famine. These are not just bones, they are lives preserved. The body writes in bone what the heart lives through. And it begins with you now. Every stumble, every dance, every path walked in silence, your bones are writing it down. Even emotions leave traces. Prolonged stress affects hormones. Cortisol can thin the bones, make them hollow in places. Love, touch, safety, these two have power. In studies, animals touched gently in youth grow stronger skeletons than those left alone. Touch matters. Movement matters. Stillness, too, in its own way. Bones grow in response to all of it. They are not simply supports. They are listeners of life. In temples of old, bones were sacred. They were buried with care, painted with red ochre, wrapped in soft cloth. In some cultures, the bones of ancestors were kept close, believed to hold wisdom. There was a recognition that bones were more than remains. They were vessels of memory, and this truth lingers even in hospitals today. When a broken bone heals, we say it's stronger at the break. That's not just science, it's poetry. It's the body saying, I remember what happened here. I've grown because of it. And so when you stretch your arms above your head, when you walk barefoot on warm earth, when you hold someone you love, your bones feel that. They record it not in words but in strength, in curve, in density. They shape themselves around the moments you live. You may not notice, but the body does. It pays attention. Now imagine your skeleton glowing softly beneath your skin, not white and still, but golden and warm. Imagine each bone as a quiet candle flickering with the story of your life. Each joint a hinge of memory, each curve an echo of motion. This is you from within, not just a structure, a living map. a record of joy, of loss, of healing. And it keeps growing always, as long as you move, as long as you feel. You are not just wearing your bones. You are shaping them, every day, in motion and stillness, in effort and rest. The bones are listening. The bones remember. Let's drift deeper now, into the secret life inside your bones, the quiet workings, the soft intelligence, the way they adapt not only to motion but to meaning. Your skeleton is more than a scaffold. It is a communicator, a messenger. It speaks to the rest of the body through silent signals that travel far beyond the marrow. When you walk, run, or rest, your bones send messages into the bloodstream, little whispers carried by hormones and minerals. These messages touch the brain, the muscles, even the heart. They shape your hunger, your energy, your thoughts. The bones are speaking. The body is listening. There is a hormone called osteocalcin born in the bone that moves like a letter from the skeleton to the brain. It helps with memory, with emotion, with learning. It floats through the blood and changes the way neurons fire. This may sound impossible, that your bones can shape your thoughts, but it is real. When you are stressed, your bones respond. When you are learning, they do too. The old idea that bones are passive is fading. In truth, they are part of a loop, body to brain to body, always exchanging, always adjusting. And within that loop lives wisdom. Even the smallest bones matter. Inside your ear, 3 tiny bones, the malleus, incus, and stapes, carry sound. They vibrate with every whisper, every bird call, every lullaby. And though they are small, they have shaped the way we know the world. They turn waves of air into meaning, and they are bones. They are touch transformed. Even your teeth, held in bone, feel pressure and texture. A bite into crisp fruit, a soft breath drawn through the jaw. These sensations are possible because bone meets nerve. It's all connected. When a child learns to walk, their bones grow in response to every fall, every step. The legs strengthen, the feet widen, the spine learns balance. This is not just a result of practice, it is the skeleton becoming wiser through experience. The cells within the bone know when to thicken, when to stretch, when to pause. They do not rush. They wait until the moment is right. This patience is part of the body's design. No hurry, no panic, just listening, adjusting, becoming. There is another layer of mystery in how bones support immunity. Deep in the marrow, immune cells are shaped and trained. Some leave to patrol the body, others stay behind, ready to be called upon. This connection between bone and defense is old and sacred. The cells born in bone are the guardians of health. They do not forget. Memory cells live for decades, remembering every virus, every wound. And they wait in the dark of marrow until they are needed again. The bones are not just remembering motion. They are holding the map of your survival. In ancient medicine, this connection was understood in symbols. The spine was seen as a ladder to the soul. The skull, a vessel of dreams. Even in art, bones were shown as more than remnants, they were messages. A curved rib, a hollow femur, these shapes carried weight not just in body but in meaning. Today, with microscopes and scans, we see even more. We see osteocytes reaching out to touch each other through tiny channels, like branches in a forest underground. These are not isolated cells. They are in conversation always. They share signals. They respond to vibration, to silence, to pressure. They shape the skeleton like coral grows from the ocean's rhythm. Let's pause now and picture the way your bones fit together. Each joint a meeting place. The hip where the bowl meets the stem. The shoulder where the ball rolls in its cradle. The spine, a stack of puzzles balanced in grace. And in every joint there is motion and memory. Cartilage cushions the space between, but the bone remembers every impact. Not as pain, but as guidance. Where to strengthen, where to slow, where to rest. Your bones are not resisting movement, they are dancing with it. When astronauts travel into space, far from Earth's gravity, their bones begin to lose density. Without pressure, without movement, the bones forget. They soften, they shrink. And when these travelers return, they must rebuild not just their strength, but the memory of how to stand, how to bear weight. This teaches us something deep. Bones grow from pressure, not stress, but steady rhythm, the pull of muscle, the weight of breath. Even gravity becomes a teacher. Without it, the body fades. With it, the bones listen and grow strong again. And in aging, bones tell another story. With time, the rebuilding slows, the balance between breaking and making shifts, but even here the bones do not stop. They continue to adapt. A slower dance, yes, but still full of purpose. With gentle movement, with care, they respond. This is why walking matters, why lifting matters, not in extremes, but in steady love. Your bones want to be useful. They want to feel your life moving through them. Stillness, too long held, makes them lonely. Touch plays its part in all of this. A hand on a shoulder, a body curled in sleep, the hug of a child. These soft moments matter, they signal safety. They release chemicals that feed the skeleton's rhythm. Oxytocin, serotonin, these are not just feelings. They are instructions to grow, to heal, to remember joy. Touch is not luxury. It is nourishment, especially to the deepest parts of you. So next time you feel tired and your back leans against the wall, remember that your bones are listening. When you stretch and feel a pop in your neck, remember that something inside is shifting into comfort. When you press your feet into the floor, when your spine straightens, when your arms rise in sunlight, you are not just moving. You are reminding your skeleton that you are alive, and it answers back in silence. Bones may not speak, but they respond. They absorb the life you live and give it back in form. They hold you upright not because they are hard, but because they are wise. They know how to bend. They know how to break and heal. They know how to carry your grief and your laughter, your effort and your ease. They know how to grow with you. And as we drift toward rest, let this thought stay with you. Your bones are your most loyal companions. They have been with you since before you walked, and they will stay until the end. They carry the imprint of every gentle thing you've ever done. They are not stone. They are memory. They are touch, turned into shape. Let them carry you gently. Let them grow with you. Let us return once more to the silence beneath your skin, where your bones continue their gentle work. The world may not notice, but your skeleton is never still. It shifts, it listens, it evolves with every hour you live. Even now, as you breathe, as your heart hums quietly in your chest, your bones are changing. They are responding to the softness of your bed, the weight of your spine against the mattress, the quiet pulse of sleep. The skeleton is not rigid. It is patient, flowing over time like a river wearing its shape into stone, but always in motion. After injury, after illness, after stillness, the bones return to their craft, not rushed, not anxious, but persistent. A bone that was fractured remembers the stress, and the cells come together again, weaving a matrix of strength where there was once weakness. The healed place is not the same as before. It is often stronger, thicker, more attuned to the story that caused the break. This is not just repair, it is adaptation. Your bones are not trying to go back. They are trying to go forward, shaped by what has been. And when movement returns, a step taken after days of rest, a stretch after stiffness, the skeleton rejoices in its silent way. It greets the pressure as an old friend. Muscles pull at tendons, and tendons pull at bone, and the bone responds with whispers of calcium and collagen, deep within the marrow. It is a dance without music. It is a conversation without sound. And yet it is one of the most ancient dialogues in nature, movement shaping matter, matter remembering movement. Bones also serve as protectors. The skull cradles the brain, the ribs wrap around the heart and lungs like quiet guardians. The pelvis holds the womb, the spine lifts the head to meet the sky. These are not just architectural features, they are gestures of care. The skeleton shelters what matters most, and in doing so it holds the posture of life itself, upright, reaching, balanced. Even when we sleep, the bones continue their watch. Curved into the shape of rest, they wait until the next waking moment, ready to bear us forward. But what of the marrow? What of the deep red cradle inside the longest bones, the femurs, the pelvis, the sternum? Here, even as the world outside rushes past, life begins again and again. Red blood cells, like tiny lanterns, are born and released. White blood cells, the watchers of health, are trained in silence. The marrow never tires. Even in age, even in sorrow, it continues. This inner fire is often unseen, but it is essential. It is the reason the skeleton is never truly still, because creation is always underway. There is wonder in this invisible work. The minerals in your bones, calcium, magnesium, phosphate, are borrowed, held, and released as needed. The bones do not hoard. They share with the rest of the body. If your blood needs calcium, the bone releases it. If your heart calls for balance, the bone answers. This generosity is constant and quiet. The bones are not only support, they are storehouses of balance, of generosity, of life in reserve. And still they carry memory. The bones of dancers curve differently than those of runners. The skeleton of a violinist grows subtly in response to the weight of the bow. A lifetime of habits, of gestures, of crafts, all are written into the shape of the frame. If you could trace your bones like a map, you would see the places where love sat, where labor pressed, where joy left its mark. You would see the signature of your living etched into form. In the winter of life, when movement slows and the steps grow careful, the bones begin to whisper more. They may ache with the weight they once carried with ease, but this ache is not weakness, it is remembrance. It is the echo of a life fully lived. And still they do not stop. They repair, they replace, they rebuild. Slower now, yes, but with the same faithful rhythm they have always known. Across cultures, the wisdom of bones has been honored. In some traditions, bones are kept close to the living, held in small boxes, adorned with prayers. In others, they are buried deep in sacred ground, returned to the earth like seeds. And some believe that the soul, upon leaving the body, lingers in the bones the longest, that these silent structures hold something more than matter, that they carry the echo of who we are, even after breath is gone. And perhaps they do. For when we touch the bones of those who came before, the fossil, the relic, the ancestor, we feel something, not fear but reverence. Their shape speaks even in silence. A broken femur that healed shows us that someone once stopped and cared. Someone once tended another. The healed bone is proof of compassion. It is the fossil of kindness. And in that way, bones tell stories the mouth may forget. So as you rest now, wrapped in warmth, body still, mind quiet, remember this. Your skeleton is a story of touch. Every hug, every fall, every step, every pause, all of it lives within you. The bones carry your days like rings in a tree, like folds in a mountain. They carry your weight, your grace, your stumbles, and your growth. They do not complain. They simply remember. And they will continue to. Long after you've forgotten the moment, the bones remember the feeling. Long after the sound has faded, the vibration still echoes in your frame. Long after the wound has healed, the pattern remains in the marrow. Your bones are your most faithful record keepers. They are memories shaped into form. So breathe gently now. Feel the quiet presence within you, the weight that holds you, the lines that shape you, the foundation that remembers you. You are not made of stillness. You are made of slow, steady becoming. The bones are listening, and they always will. Let them rest with you. Let them carry your memory home. The first thing you did when you entered the world was breathe. Before your name, before your voice, before your feet touched earth, air filled your lungs. It was invisible, silent, and yet it was everything. One breath, then another, then a rhythm that would stay with you for all your days. Breath is life's oldest companion. It begins before thought and ends only in stillness. It moves through you like a river that never dries, in then out, again and again. A silent tide returning always. But where does it come from, this breath that enters without effort? The air you draw today may have once drifted over oceans, may have passed through trees that stood 1,000 years ago, may have filled the lungs of whales, birds, ancient humans, and wildflowers at dawn. This same breath has circled the planet countless times, rising with the heat, falling with the cold, pulled by the moon, turned by the mountains. Air is not owned. It is shared. It is a gift passed between living things, each borrowing it for a time, then letting it go. Inside each breath is a story, molecules of oxygen created in the hearts of stars long before Earth was born. Those atoms drifted through space, found their way into water and stone, and eventually into the atmosphere. With time, plants rose from the soil, their green leaves turning sunlight into sugar and air. They made oxygen as a gift, exhaled it into the sky, and we in turn breathed it in. A partnership older than memory, a circle of giving. Your lungs are not just sacs of air. They are forests turned inward, branches reaching in instead of out. The trachea, the bronchi, the alveoli, each part narrowing gently, like rivers splitting into streams. until the air reaches the tiniest spaces, where oxygen slips across thin walls into your blood. From there, it rides through your body, feeding your cells, whispering energy into your muscles, your thoughts, your dreams. And when it is done, it leaves not empty but transformed. Carbon dioxide flows out back into the world to feed the plants once again. Breath is not just exchange, it is relationship. And this relationship is tender. Hold your breath and the body begins to sing alarms. Not loudly, but with a growing tension, a call for return. Because breath is not meant to be held. It is meant to move, to visit, to change you and then continue on. And yet you rarely notice it. You speak through it. You sleep beside it. It shapes your laughter and your silence. And still it asks for nothing. Only that you let it come and go like waves on a quiet shore. In early civilizations, breath was spirit. The ancient Greeks called it pneuma, the breath of life. In Hebrew, the word ruach meant both wind and soul. In Sanskrit, prana flowed through invisible channels, carrying energy through the body. Breath was never just a function. It was sacred. It was the bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the body and something beyond. And even today, when you close your eyes and inhale slowly, you feel that quiet power, the way the breath softens thoughts, the way it grounds you, lifts you, brings you back to center. The body listens to breath like a gentle teacher. When you are calm, the breath is long and soft. When you are frightened, it shortens, rises into the chest. When you run, it quickens to meet your pace. When you cry, it trembles. When you sleep, it deepens into lullabies. Your breath is your mirror, always reflecting what you feel, even when words fail. And through that reflection, it helps you heal. Within your cells, oxygen lights tiny fires. These are not flames you can see, but chemical reactions that release energy. Mitochondria, the cell's quiet engines, take the oxygen and turn it into movement, heat, life. Every blink, every heartbeat, every thought is powered by that invisible spark. Without breath, the fire fades, but with it, you shine. And the lungs themselves are remarkable. Spongy, elastic, folded in ways that increase surface area to the size of a tennis court. They are both strong and delicate. The airways lined with cilia, tiny hairs that sweep away dust, bacteria, and memory. Mucus traps invaders, coughing clears the way. It is a self-cleaning forest, always filtering, always adapting. And yet it is gentle. You breathe even when you're not aware, even in sleep, even in sorrow. Breath is connection, too. Think of the moment when two people share a laugh and exhale together. Think of the warmth in a sigh between lovers. Think of the way a parent watches a child sleeping, chest rising and falling like waves against a dock. Breath is not only for you, it is a bond, a shared rhythm, a reminder that you are never truly alone. And breath carries memory, the smell of rain on dry soil, the scent of home, the breath you held when you said goodbye, the breath you lost when you were afraid, the breath you gave when life began. It is woven into your experiences. It is the music beneath your days, and it keeps playing even when you forget to listen. Even animals breathe in rhythm with their world. A cat purring in sleep, a whale surfacing through ocean mist, a bird rising on warm air currents. Breath unites species. Across continents, across lifetimes, across every difference, breath is the common thread. Plants inhale carbon dioxide and return oxygen. We return the favor. It is the oldest partnership on Earth. And sometimes breath becomes medicine. A deep inhale calms the heart. A slow exhale eases the mind. Practices like meditation, prayer, song all use breath as their foundation, not because it is loud, but because it is steady. It is always there, waiting to be noticed, waiting to soothe. Inhale, exhale, return. Let us rest now in this knowing that breath is not separate from you, but a part of your becoming. Every inhale brings in the world. Every exhale gives back something of you. It is gentle. It is patient. It is faithful. And long after this moment passes, the breath will continue through you, through others, through trees and tides and quiet spaces. It carries time. It carries memory. It carries life. Let it carry you softly. Now let us drift deeper into the breath that shaped the world. Long before lungs, before mammals, even before plants, the earth breathed in its own way. Volcanoes exhaled clouds of gas. Oceans released steam into the sky. The wind moved across stone, whispering into canyons, swirling into the shape of storms. It was a breath without intention, without lungs, but it was breath nonetheless, motion, rhythm, exchange. And from this breath, life began. The first microbes rose in shallow seas, feeding on minerals, giving off gases. Some made methane, some made oxygen. The atmosphere changed slowly over millions of years. It thickened, cooled, welcomed new forms. Breath prepared the way. Then came plants, quiet green architects of air. They reached toward sunlight, pulled carbon from the sky, and with the help of water and warmth turned it into life. Their leaves became the first breath givers. They exhaled oxygen into the wind, filling the sky with something new. And with time, animals emerged to take it in. A long shared exhale met a long shared inhale, and the circle began. Every breath you take now is part of that ancient agreement. You are borrowing from the past. You are participating in a pattern far older than your own body. Even today, each forest is a lung. Each tree is a breath. The Amazon exhales into the southern hemisphere. The taiga whispers oxygen into the north. Under the sea, plankton, so small you can barely see them, release more than half the oxygen on Earth. They float in sunlight, invisible and essential. They live short lives, and yet their breath outlives them. When you breathe deeply, part of that breath may have come from a wave cresting in the Arctic or from a forest floor in New Zealand. The earth is breathing all around you, and you are breathing with it. Your own breath responds to the world more deeply than you may realize. Altitude changes it, emotion shapes it, climate, time of day, even the phase of the moon can touch it. In cold air, your breath becomes visible, a fleeting cloud of warmth. In heat, it disappears into silence. And in every breath, there is subtle information. The body adjusts moment by moment. In sleep, the breath softens to match your dreams. In song, it stretches to carry sound. In grief, it catches. In laughter, it dances. There is no emotion that does not pass through breath. Deep within your lungs, there are nerves that do not control but sense. They feel the stretch of each inhale, the softness of each exhale. They send signals to the brain saying, yes, we are here. Yes, we are safe. This is why breath is used in meditation. It brings awareness not just to the present moment but to the present body. And the body responds. The heart slows. Muscles relax. Thoughts become quieter. The breath teaches without words. Scientists now study the breath with tools, spirometers, capnometers, oximeters, each one measuring something invisible, something delicate. They count the rise and fall, the exchange of gases, the shape of the lungs. They track how illness affects breathing, how fear shortens it, how sleep disorders twist it into silence. But even with all these tools, breath remains partly mysterious. It is both automatic and intentional. You breathe without thinking, yet you can choose to change it. Few other systems in the body allow this kind of partnership. You are not just a passenger, you are a co-creator. In early life, breath is the first independent act. In the womb, oxygen flows through the umbilical cord, not through lungs. But at birth, everything changes. The lungs fill, the baby cries, air enters for the first time. That first breath is a gateway from water to air, from silence to sound, from protection to presence. And the lungs, though new, are ready. They open like flowers, petals unfolding in rhythm. It is one of the most sacred moments in biology, and it happens in every life. Later, as life continues, we see breath shift. In childhood, it is quick and light. In youth, it grows deeper. In adulthood, it steadies. In age, it may slow again. Illness can change it, so can healing. And through all these changes, breath remains loyal. Even when shallow, it serves. Even when labored, it tries. The lungs may tire, but they do not abandon you. They stretch, they adapt, they recover. They are not fragile, they are faithful. And when breath becomes difficult, when it catches or falters, the body rallies to support it. Muscles in the ribs assist. The diaphragm moves with more urgency. The brain sends stronger signals. The nostrils flare. The mouth opens. Everything works together to keep the air flowing. You are not alone in your effort. Your whole body understands the importance of breath. It responds with unity. Even in dreams, your breath tells stories. It may quicken in a nightmare. It may deepen in peace. Sleep studies have shown how closely breath and dream are linked, the rise and fall of the chest matching the rhythm of imagination. Some say this is how the body tells the brain what to feel. Others believe the reverse. Either way, breath is the bridge between waking and sleep, between body and mind. And breath carries more than oxygen. It carries scent, the smell of pine, of ocean, of someone you love. These are not just sensory experiences. They are memories woven into air. One inhalation can bring back a decade. A single exhale can release a long-held sorrow. Breath is the thread that sews memory to moment. In times of fear, we are told to breathe, not because it changes the world around us, but because it changes how we meet it. A slow breath widens the moment. It makes space where panic would collapse it. In this way, breath becomes resistance. It becomes power. In times of pain, breath says, I am still here. In times of joy, breath says, let this stay. And in every culture, breath holds meaning. In martial arts, breath is tied to focus. In singing traditions, it shapes tone and emotion. In religious rituals, breath is the carrier of prayer. To breathe deeply is to remember something sacred, not because breath is rare, but because it is constant. It is the rhythm beneath your name. So breathe now with intention. Feel how the air enters, fills, lingers, how it brushes the inside of your nose, how your ribs shift, how your belly rises. Then let it go, gently, as if setting down a leaf. This is the cycle. This is the gift. You are alive, and breath is the evidence. And just as breath flows through you, so too will it move on. When you exhale, the air returns to the world. It joins the sky. It finds the leaves. It travels unseen to someone else. Perhaps far away. Perhaps tomorrow. Perhaps a bird in flight. This is how we stay connected, not by touch but by breath shared across time and space. Let this knowledge stay with you, that each breath is both deeply personal and profoundly shared. It is your story and it is the world's story. It is the past and it is this moment. Let it move through you softly, slowly, endlessly. Let us return now to the breath, not as an act but as a companion. It has walked beside you from the very beginning, quiet as shadow, present as pulse. You may forget it, overlook it, take it for granted, but breath never abandons you. It is the constant that remains when everything else changes. When thoughts race, when voices rise, when the world turns loud and tangled, breath waits. It does not demand. It only offers. It is always there, ready to return you to the center of yourself. In your final moments, whenever they come, breath will be the last thing to leave. A slow exhale, quieter than any word. And in that moment, something sacred passes from body to air, from form to space. This is not a thing to fear, but a thing to understand. Every breath before it has been a practice for letting go. Inhale, you receive. Exhale, you release. Life has always been teaching you this rhythm. It is not an end. It is a return. But until then, your breath is your presence, and what a gift that is. When you laugh, your breath dances. When you sing, it rises. When you whisper, it listens. Even your silence is shaped by breath. It carries tone. It carries warmth. It carries you. And every breath you take is a continuation of those who came before. The breath of your ancestors fills your lungs, not metaphorically, but truly. The molecules you breathe have passed through countless lives, countless lungs, countless stories. There is a scientific truth called the single breath cycle. It suggests that with every breath there is a small chance, however tiny, that you inhale at least one molecule that was once exhaled by someone from the distant past. Perhaps a pharaoh, perhaps a poet, perhaps a mother singing her child to sleep beneath the stars. You are breathing history. You are carrying it forward. Each breath is a link in a chain, unbroken since the beginning of time. And yet, even with its weight, breath is light. It does not burden you, it frees you. When you learn to follow it, to soften with it, to trust it, you begin to move through the world with more ease. You begin to feel the space between things, the pause before speech, the stillness between heartbeats. You become aware not just of your own body, but of everything around you. Breath makes you porous. It opens you to the world. There are people who spend their lives studying the breath, yogis, divers, monks, singers, scientists. Some hold it for minutes. Some shape it into music. Some use it to calm pain. Others measure it to study health. But all agree, breath is not just an action, it is an art. And like all art, it requires practice, awareness, kindness, not control, just attention. To breathe consciously is to live consciously. You can practice this even now. Sit, listen, inhale gently, notice how the breath enters. Feel it expand the ribs, the belly, the chest. Hold it for a second, just long enough to feel full. Then release, slowly. As if lowering a lantern into still water, do this again and again, and you will find that the noise of the day quiets. The mind settles, the body softens. Breath is a balm. And this practice, repeated over days and weeks, begins to change you. Your nervous system learns to respond with calm. Your heart rate slows. Your thoughts gain space between them. Decisions become gentler. Emotions rise and fall without drowning you, all from breath. The simplest, most faithful rhythm you've ever known. But breath is not only yours. It belongs to the child laughing across the room, to the sparrow flitting above rooftops, to the fox padding through moonlight, to the tree rising from earth. Breath is not a possession. It is participation. It is communion. When you breathe, you are part of the world's great exhale. When you breathe again, you are receiving its gift. This is why places with clean air feel like healing. A forest path, a quiet beach, a mountain meadow. The air moves through leaves, over stones, across lakes, and into you. It carries not only oxygen but story, scent, humidity, memory. When you inhale in these places, your body remembers something it forgot. It remembers what it means to feel safe, to feel small and vast at the same time. And in places where air is thin or polluted, the body strains. It works harder to find balance. Breath becomes effort. And yet even here it persists. It does not give up. It adjusts. The lungs open wider. The heart beats stronger. The breath finds a way. It is resilience made visible. Think now of those who struggle to breathe, with illness, with injury, with age. Their every breath is precious, deliberate. Their lungs, once quiet, now speak in effort. And still they breathe, they fight, they rest. Their breath becomes testimony, a story of survival, a reminder of the gift we often forget we hold. And someday your breath may grow slow. It may shorten. It may pause. And still it will have carried you across decades, across joys and sorrows, across continents and seasons and hours you didn't even notice passing. It will have stayed with you when no one else did. It will have comforted you in fear, lifted you in love, steadied you in loss. It will have been your companion, your quiet witness. And when the last breath leaves you, it will not vanish. It will join the wind. It will rise into sky. It will drift through trees and rivers, past rooftops and clouds. And one day someone else will breathe it in. They will not know you, but a part of you will be there, in their chest, in their story. So breathe now gently, with reverence, with gratitude, with wonder, for breath is not just the sign of life. It is life itself. It is the thread that sews all living things together, quietly, invisibly, endlessly. Let it move through you, not as something to control, but as something to trust. Let it carry you through now, through memory, through time. Inside you, rivers run. They do not roar or crash or spill across stones, but they flow with quiet purpose. Every moment, without pause, they move through you, twisting, turning, looping back on themselves in perfect rhythm. These are the rivers in your blood, the gentle highways of life that reach every corner of you. They do not wait for permission. They do not ask for rest. They carry everything: warmth, breath, nutrients, memory. And they have been moving since before you knew you were alive. Your heart is the source of this motion, not a symbol, but a muscle, sturdy and soft, folding and unfolding like a sea creature, 4 chambers beating in time. It does not think, but it knows. It knows when to hurry. It knows when to slow. It listens to signals whispered from the brain, the skin, the lungs. And with every beat it sends blood outward in waves, through arteries thick and strong, into vessels fine as hair. Each beat a message, each pulse a poem of survival. If you could follow your blood as it flows, you would see a world unfolding inside you. You would pass through great tunnels, wide and red, where oxygen rides in cells shaped like soft discs. You would drift with hormones, small and purposeful, each heading toward a target it cannot see. You would float beside sugar, beside salt, beside quiet proteins. You would pass the lungs where breath enters and leaves, the liver where filters catch the old and broken, the kidneys where water is measured like rainfall. It is not chaos, it is choreography. There are nearly 60,000 miles of blood vessels inside you, enough to circle the earth more than twice. And yet they do not tangle, they do not lose their way. They are laid with intention, branching like trees, narrowing like rivers, rejoining in endless loops. Each vessel has its role. Arteries carry away. Veins return. Capillaries pause in between, where exchange happens. This is where blood lets go of oxygen, where it delivers food, where it picks up carbon dioxide like letters to be carried away. Every cell in your body, all 30 trillion, is fed by this system. None are forgotten. And the blood itself is not just red. It is a mixture, a moving world. Red cells carry breath. White cells stand guard. Platelets wait to seal any cut, any wound. And in the plasma, the liquid part, float nutrients, enzymes, heat, memory. The color you see when you bleed is only part of the story. Inside, blood is alive with purpose. It learns, it responds, it adapts. Your circulatory system began forming before you were born, when you were no more than a cluster of cells. A flicker appeared, a tiny pulse, and it grew into a rhythm. The first heartbeat happens weeks before the brain is formed. Before thought, before breath, the heart begins. And it does not stop. It beat while you slept last night. It beat while you worried, while you waited, while you laughed. It will beat thousands of times today. And though you rarely notice, it carries you through each moment. In ancient times, people believed the heart held the soul. They were not entirely wrong. The Egyptians left the heart in the body during burial, believing it would be weighed in the afterlife. In Chinese medicine, the heart was the emperor of the body, ruling not with power but with wisdom. Even today, we say, "Follow your heart," as if it knows something the mind does not. And perhaps it does not in words but in rhythm, in presence, in loyalty. Your blood listens too. When you run, it moves faster. When you rest, it slows. When you are frightened, it gathers strength. When you are calm, it flows like a river at dusk. The vessels widen and narrow with your needs. The heart adjusts without being told. It is a system built not just for survival but for understanding. It feels your life and reflects it. In moments of love, the heart races. In grief, it falters. In fear, it pounds. In joy, it lifts. These changes are not imagined. They are carried in blood. Emotions are not only thoughts. They are patterns in pressure, in pulse, in flow. The heart does not lie. It responds honestly and instantly to all that you feel. Let us travel now to the fingertips, where the vessels grow so small they can barely be seen. Here, the blood slows, pressing against the walls of the capillaries, sharing warmth, sharing oxygen. Your skin glows because of this. It is not simply color, it is circulation. It is the echo of rivers flowing just beneath the surface. In winter, when the air turns cold, your blood retreats to protect your core. In heat, it rises to the skin to release warmth, always adjusting, always giving. And even in injury, the blood responds. A cut forms a call for help. Platelets arrive, clotting quickly to seal the break. White cells follow, cleaning the wound. Red cells feed the area. The vessel heals. The skin closes, and the memory remains. The blood knows what to do, not with thought but with experience shaped by thousands of generations. The wisdom of healing is older than language. And the heart, though it never rests, does not tire easily. It is made to endure, stronger than bone, softer than muscle. It beats for decades without fail, a drummer in the dark, steady and faithful. It sends blood not just to the muscles and organs, but to itself. Coronary vessels wrap the heart like threads, feeding the very muscle that gives life to all others. Even the heart needs care. Even the center must be nourished. Now imagine your body as a great landscape. Mountains of bone, forests of muscle, oceans of breath, and through it all, rivers of blood, carrying news, carrying heat, carrying memory. These rivers are quiet, but they are tireless, and they are yours. They have carried you since before you spoke, before you stood, before you knew your name. So when you feel your pulse in your wrist, in your neck, in the quiet of your chest, know this: You are feeling motion. You are feeling presence. You are feeling a system that has never left your side. It is not only biology, it is belonging. The rivers in your blood do not ask to be seen. They simply move, and in doing so, they carry your story beat by beat. Let's drift deeper now into the winding, invisible rivers that shape every part of you. These rivers of blood do not only carry what is needed, they also carry what is remembered. Every emotion, every moment of fear or joy, every wound, every healing has left its echo in your circulation. The heart and vessels do not forget. They have been reshaped again and again by your experience, just as a riverbed slowly deepens with every passing current. The system learns from you. It adjusts. It becomes your history in motion. There are days when your heart beats fast, not from running, but from emotion. You may not be moving at all, but something in your mind and your memory sends a signal. The vessel's tight, the pressure rises, the rhythm changes. This is not imagination. It is biology responding to the soul. In grief, blood may pull inward, turning skin pale. In love, it rushes outward, warming the cheeks, softening the hands. You can feel these changes if you listen. The heart does not speak in language. It speaks in flow. When you feel a flutter in your chest, a skipped beat, a sudden rush, you are witnessing the body responding to something more than breath or food. You are witnessing the rivers becoming tide, pulled by unseen moons. The body is not only a machine. It is a listener, a translator of feelings into pressure and pulse. And it does this not just for the sake of survival, but for connection, to help you feel, to help you notice, to remind you that you are alive. Even stillness is a kind of motion. When you are lying down asleep, the heart does not stop. It slows like a boat drifting on quiet water. Blood still flows. Oxygen still reaches the fingertips. Waste is still carried away. Repair still happens. Your vessels are cleaned. Your tissues are mended. In this stillness, the body does its most sacred work. The blood is not idle. It is preparing you for another day. Inside each red blood cell is hemoglobin, a molecule shaped like a folded cradle, designed perfectly to hold oxygen. It picks it up in the lungs, carries it through the arteries, and releases it wherever it is needed. Each cell makes this journey over and over, thousands of times before it is retired. When a red cell grows old, the spleen catches it, breaks it down, recycles the iron. Nothing is wasted. Even decay is honored. This is how the body shows wisdom, by transforming what is old into what is needed. The white blood cells, meanwhile, patrol the bloodstream with quiet alertness. They are fewer, but they are fierce when called upon. They do not rest in one place, they move, searching, sensing. If they detect something strange, a virus, a damaged cell, an invader, they respond. Some engulf, some signal others, some mark the danger so the rest can find it. And all of this happens silently, without your knowledge. Your body is defending you in real time, moment by moment. It asks for nothing in return, except the chance to keep flowing. And the platelets, so small, so often unnoticed, wait for a signal. When a vessel is damaged, they gather instantly, linking together, forming a barrier. They call for reinforcements. They start the cascade that becomes a clot. They save you from bleeding too long. This entire orchestra of cells, red, white, platelet, plays its music through the river of plasma, that clear, golden fluid carrying messages in all directions. Hormones, too, ride these rivers. When the brain decides to send a message of stress, of hunger, of calm, it releases molecules that enter the blood. These hormones drift through the vessels, searching for their destinations. Some find the heart, telling it to beat faster. Some reach the stomach, sparking digestion. Some calm the lungs, some rouse the muscles. Your blood is a delivery system for the invisible. It carries not only substances, but instructions. The rivers are not just flowing. They are communicating. Your body temperature is managed this way as well. When you are too warm, blood flows to the surface of the skin, releasing heat. When you are cold, blood is pulled inward to protect the organs. This shift can happen in moments. It is why your fingers grow red in the sun and pale in snow. The blood does not judge, it simply responds. It listens to the world and adjusts your body's balance accordingly. And the heart, though small, is mighty. About the size of your fist, it pumps over 5 liters of blood every minute. That is more than 70 gallons per hour. Over a lifetime, it will move millions of gallons more than any pump ever built by hand. And it does this not for applause, not for praise, but simply because that is what it was made to do. It is tireless. It is humble. It is one of the most faithful things you will ever know. Some say the heart breaks, and in a way it can. Prolonged grief, intense fear, deep loneliness, these can change its rhythm. Stress can narrow the vessels, thicken the walls, but even when hurt, the heart tries to heal. It searches for new paths, creates new vessels, repairs what it can. It does not give up. Like rivers after a landslide, it finds another way. In medicine, the rivers of blood are measured in numbers, pressure, volume, oxygen content. But beneath those numbers is something softer, something more beautiful. The pulse you feel in your wrist is the echo of your own aliveness. The throb in your chest is the beat of your story unfolding. The warmth in your hands is a gift from deep within. These are not symptoms. They are symphonies. And this system is not yours alone. Every human shares it. The design of arteries and veins is nearly universal. The rhythm of the heart is echoed across continents, across cultures. A baby in Nepal, an elder in Nigeria, a runner in Peru. All of them carry rivers inside. All of them are kept alive by the same unseen flow. And beyond humans, animals too have hearts. Birds, whales, elephants, mice, all with blood, all with rhythm. We are more alike than we are different. We are all moved by rivers. Now take a moment to feel it, the pulse in your neck, the warmth in your chest, the subtle throb in your fingers. This is you, yes, but it is also the Earth's story. It is the rhythm of water and fire, of pressure and rest, of light and time. You are not separate from it. You are shaped by it. Let this bring you peace. Your blood knows what to do. It will keep flowing even when you are unaware. It will find the broken parts and try to heal them. It will nourish you in sleep. It will carry breath to your smallest cells. It will hold memory in the folds of its flow. And it will do all of this without needing to be seen. The rivers in your blood are quiet, but they are constant, and they are yours. Now let the current slow. Let us rest in the understanding that the rivers in your blood are not merely carriers of life, but keepers of your quiet endurance. They have flowed since your first heartbeat, since the moment your cells aligned into form. Before you ever opened your eyes, before you spoke your first word, before the outside world ever touched your skin, these rivers had already begun their work, flowing, feeding, cleansing, building. They are not loud, and yet they shape everything. They are not seen, and yet they hold all that you are. The heart does not ask for gratitude. It simply continues. It contracts and releases, not with thunder but with rhythm. It marks the minutes of your life not in sound but in movement. Even now it beats not just in your chest but in your wrists, in your neck, in the soles of your feet. It is everywhere at once, a central drum that echoes through all corners of your body. And this beat, this steady thrum, is not just a sign of health. It is a sign of loyalty. It is a promise kept, second by second. As you grow, the rivers adapt. A child's heart beats fast, lively, curious. An adult slows, learns patience, keeps time with the breath. In age, the blood may thicken, the vessels may grow tired, but still they flow. The journey of the blood is not one of perfection. It is one of persistence. Every scar in your body, every place where tissue has mended, every ache that softened over time was aided by the presence of blood. Its quiet labor continues, day and night, beneath your awareness, beneath your worries, beneath your distractions. When you are wounded, the blood does not panic. It responds with precision. It sends clotting cells to hold the break. It sends immune cells to defend. It sends warmth, oxygen, nutrients, all without waiting for you to ask. And when the danger has passed, it clears away what is no longer needed. It moves on like a river cleaning itself after a storm. Healing is not a miracle. It is a system. It is a flow that knows the way. Your emotions ride these rivers too. The flush of embarrassment, the pale quiet of fear, the hot swell of anger, the pink glow of happiness, all of these are carried in the blood. Not symbolically, but physically. Hormones, neurochemicals, tension, ease, they travel through you in waves. Your feelings are not just thoughts. They are biology. They are movement. They are alive within you, riding currents that began before your conscious mind could name them. Even memory may have a place in blood. Researchers now wonder whether trauma can shape the very chemistry of your circulation, not just in the brain but throughout the body. Perhaps the heart remembers more than we think. Perhaps the blood carries echoes, old signals, subtle maps of past storms. This does not mean you are broken. It means you are layered. It means that healing can happen not just in mind but in vessel and valve, in beat and breath. When you move, your blood moves differently. A walk in the sun changes the rhythm. A dance, even small, sends joyful signals. A deep stretch lets blood reach places held too tight for too long. Stillness has its place, but so does movement, not as punishment, but as invitation. Every step is a message to your blood, come with me. And it does. The rivers in your blood do not just carry, they cleanse. In your kidneys, blood is filtered over and over, waste removed, balance restored. In your liver, toxins are softened, old cells recycled, fats and sugars managed with care. Your blood does not simply deliver, it listens, it observes, it learns. And through this, it keeps your entire body in harmony, adjusting to what you eat, how you sleep, what you feel, what you face. Think of how much your blood has seen. Every scrape you cleaned as a child, every fever that broke in the night, every laugh that turned your cheeks warm, every time your heart raced without reason. These were not just moments, they were currents. The body remembers them not only in scars or wrinkles, but in patterns of pressure, in the way your blood moves now through familiar terrain. And though the system may seem closed, it is not isolated. When you breathe, you invite the outside world into your blood. Oxygen joins the flow. When you eat, the nutrients become passengers in the current. When you rest, the flow slows, gently rocking the cells to repair. Every part of your life finds its way into these rivers. The blood is not just yours, it is your life, transformed into motion. In moments of awe, standing before a mountain, hearing music that moves you, holding a newborn, the heart changes, the blood shifts, your chest feels full, your breath soft. These are not accidents, they are physiological acknowledgments of wonder. The rivers widen, they open space for what matters. You are not just feeling, you are flowing. And one day, far from now, your heart will slow, the rhythm will soften, the vessels will rest, the rivers will begin to still. But even then they will have done their work. They will have carried you through love and loss, through sickness and strength, through quiet days and burning ones. They will have been your lifeline, your silent guide. And in that final moment when all becomes still, the body will return to the earth and the rivers will return to water and dust and memory. Let that bring you comfort. You are not just skin and thought. You are rivers, you are current. You are motion shaped by love and time. So place your hand over your heart. Feel the beat, not just of survival but of presence, not just of muscle but of story. Let it echo softly in your awareness. Let it remind you that you are here. The rivers in your blood still flow, and they always will until the last whisper, the last wave, the last stillness. Let them carry you. Your skin is not just a boundary, it is a living listener. A soft veil between you and the world, it absorbs every breeze, every raindrop, every flicker of warmth. It does not speak in words, but it understands light. It understands shadow. It knows the language of touch. It listens always with quiet sensitivity. From the moment you are born, the skin is your first conversation with air, with others, with the universe that wraps around you. It is not armor, it is awareness. Stretching over your body in endless quiet, your skin is the largest organ you have. It folds and curves with you from the soles of your feet to the tops of your ears, shaping itself to your story. Each freckle, each line, each patch of softness or strength, these are notes in your symphony. The skin is not passive. It breathes, it senses, it remembers. It welcomes the light and guards against harm. And deep inside its layers, a dialogue unfolds. When sunlight touches your skin, something ancient awakens. Photons, particles of light born in the heart of the sun, travel across 93 million miles of space just to meet you. They land on your skin like whispers, like tiny invitations. Your body responds not just with warmth, but with chemistry. The cells beneath the surface begin to work. Melanin rises. Vitamin D is born. These reactions are not random. They are part of an elegant agreement between your body and the sky. Vitamin D, called the sunshine vitamin, is created when ultraviolet light dances through the skin. This molecule helps regulate calcium, supports the immune system, strengthens the bones, and yet you do not feel it happening. There is no sound, no flash. Only the quiet unfolding of a gift, light becoming nourishment. Your skin, in its silence, is also a garden. It grows what you need in response to the light. But the skin is not only about sun. It listens to the absence of light as well. In darkness, it contracts slightly. It grows cooler, preparing for sleep. When the day ends and shadows stretch across your room, the skin receives the message. It is time to rest. This rhythm, the circadian rhythm, flows beneath the skin like an underground river. The cells follow it. Hormones respond to it. The body shifts. The skin, as outermost layer, marks the change. And the skin also listens to emotion. When you are frightened, it tightens. Goosebumps rise. The tiny muscles at the base of each hair contract, a remnant of an ancient response, a body trying to appear larger, safer. In love or embarrassment, the skin flushes, a bloom of red spreading through the cheeks. In illness, it may pale or sweat. The skin does not hide your inner world. It reflects it. It is both mirror and messenger. Beneath the surface, nerves run like tiny filaments connecting skin to brain in an instant. A touch on the arm can travel through these wires faster than thought, arriving in the mind before you even register sensation. A breeze is not just felt, it is translated into meaning. This is soft. This is sharp. This is warm. This is safe. The skin filters everything, deciding what needs attention, what can drift by like a leaf on water. And yet the skin is delicate. A scrape, a burn, a bruise, each one is recorded. The cells rush to respond. Blood vessels widen. White blood cells arrive. New skin begins to grow, cell by cell, like a patch of moss after a storm. Healing is not just a matter of time. It is a process of memory. The skin knows what it once was, and it works to return to that shape, that tone, that balance. Scar tissue may remain a different texture, a different color, but even that is the body saying, I remember, I adapted, I healed. Touch is the skin's most intimate conversation. A hand on your shoulder, a blanket wrapped around you, a loved one's fingers brushing yours. These are not simple gestures, they are language. Skin-to-skin contact releases oxytocin, the hormone of safety, of connection, of calm. In infancy, it builds the foundation of trust. In old age, it soothes loneliness. In every stage of life, touch says what words cannot. You are not alone. And when the skin is denied this, when it is isolated, untouched, it remembers that too. Studies have shown that a lack of touch can lead to slower healing, lower immunity, sadness that lingers without clear reason. The skin longs for contact not just as comfort, but as confirmation. I am here. I am known. I am part of something. Even temperature becomes communication. The warmth of the sun, the chill of evening, the comfort of a fire, these are felt first by the skin. Thermoreceptors beneath the surface translate each change. They guide the body's response, sweating, shivering, curling into warmth. Your skin is always gathering data, always protecting, always sensing what needs to happen next. And in this role, it is also a defender. It blocks pathogens, holds moisture, shields your inner world from the chaos of the outer one. Oils glide across its surface, forming a soft barrier. Dead cells flake away, making space for new ones. The skin renews itself every few weeks, a quiet rebirth you never see. It does not ask for your help. It only asks for your care. Now think of how the skin shapes identity. The way it tans or burns, the way it changes with age, the way it holds marks of your heritage, your story, your path. Each person's skin tells a tale of ancestry, of environment, of resilience. It is not something to be judged, but something to be honored. A scroll written in light and time and touch. The skin even contains its own microbiome, a thin layer of friendly bacteria unique to you. These microscopic companions help guard against harm, help train your immune system, help balance your world. You cannot see them, but they are part of you. They ride with you through every moment. They change with your seasons. They listen, too. So much happens beneath the surface, and yet the skin makes no noise. It does not clamor for attention, it simply responds. And in that way, it teaches you how to be, to feel, to notice, to adapt, to remember. It is your first connection to the world, your oldest sense, your most honest one. The skin listens to light, to air, to heat, to sorrow, to joy. It listens not as a machine, but as a being. It listens as part of you. And in return, it asks only this: notice it, care for it, let it breathe, let it feel. Let it remember its place not as armor but as the soft threshold between you and everything else. Let us move deeper into the fabric of your skin, not the part you see in the mirror but the layers below where signals are sent and stories are held. The skin is more than surface. It is a layered world. The epidermis, thin and renewed, often touches the world with boldness. Beneath it, the dermis, rich with blood vessels, nerves, collagen, responds with quiet depth. And farther still, the hypodermis, soft with fat and support, anchors the rest with warmth. Together, these layers form a living envelope, a wise barrier, a translator between the inside and the out. Within these layers, live cells that are constantly working. Keratinocytes build strength, melanocytes shape color. Langerhans cells defend, alerting the immune system when something enters that doesn't belong. These cells do not argue, they cooperate, and in doing so, they create balance. A single inch of your skin contains thousands of these workers, stretching, sensing, shifting. And they know what to do. Whether cut or stretched, burned or healed, your skin remembers how to return to itself. When you touch something, a warm mug, a cold raindrop, a loved one's hand, the message is sent not in thoughts but in waves. Specialized nerves beneath the skin carry signals to the spinal cord, then to the brain. It takes less than a second. But in that time, your body decides everything. What was touched, how it felt, whether it was safe, whether it should be remembered. The skin is not just responding. It is curating your experience of the world. Even the wind is read by your skin. You do not have to look outside to know a storm is near. Your skin will tighten. Your hairs will lift. Tiny receptors will feel the drop in temperature, the rise in pressure, and you will know. This knowing is not superstition. It is science. It is your body remembering its place in nature. The skin does not forget that it is part of the earth. And the earth in return shapes the skin. The sun's rays leave freckles. The wind leaves roughness. The air, the climate, the soil beneath your bare feet, these leave their touch as surely as time. No two skins are exactly alike, not because of flaw but because of story. Your skin is a living journal. It has recorded every place you've been, every season you've weathered, every joy and injury and gesture. And the skin's connection to emotion is more than poetic, it is biological. Emotional states trigger changes in circulation, sweat, and tension. The skin flushes when you are nervous. It cools when you are frightened. It glows when you are happy. It reacts before you can explain what you're feeling. In many ways, your skin is the part of you that speaks first. Long before you find the right words, your skin has already answered. This is why rituals of touch matter so much: brushing hair, massaging sore muscles, placing hands gently on shoulders. These are not just acts of comfort. They are acts of communication. Studies show that touch can slow the heart rate, lower stress hormones, increase oxytocin levels. A hug can ease pain. A gentle hand can ground a wandering mind. The skin does not question the sincerity of these gestures. It receives them with quiet trust. And the power of light reaches farther than warmth. Blue light wakes the brain. Red light calms it. Ultraviolet light in balance creates essential change in the skin cells, helping form vitamin D, supporting immune defense. But too much light can injure. Sunburn is not just redness, it is cellular damage. The skin responds by rushing repair. Inflammation rises. Melanin is deployed to shield the future. It learns from exposure. It tries to protect. It adapts because it listens. In some places, people cover their skin not from shame but from reverence. Scarves, veils, cloth, these are not just garments, they are decisions. They say, I protect this. They say, I honor this. And even uncovered, the skin remains sacred. It is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to feel, to shield, to adapt. Beauty is not smoothness, it is function wrapped in presence. The skin even plays a role in immunity. When a pathogen tries to enter through a wound or pore, the skin's cells signal the deeper defenses. They call for white blood cells for inflammation, for defense. They hold the line, and in turn the body rewards them by building stronger tissue. Repaired skin is often tougher, more resistant. It has known trouble, it has responded, it has grown. And yet the skin is not hard. It can be scratched by the edge of a fingernail, bruised by a stumble, torn by accident. That softness is not a weakness, it is a gift. It allows you to feel. Without it, the world would be silent to your body. You would not know the warmth of another. You would not know the comfort of soft cloth or cool water. You would not know the difference between wind and stillness. Pain, too, is a kind of knowing. It says, pay attention here, and your skin listens. Let us now consider how the skin changes with time. A baby's skin is soft, thin, sensitive to every shift. A child's skin begins to toughen with play and sunlight. In adolescence, hormones stir changes, oil, hair, growth. In adulthood, the skin settles, holds steady. And in age, it thins again, lines deepening like the rings of a tree. This is not decline. This is transformation. It is the body shaping itself to match the life it has lived. Each wrinkle, each fold, each soft sag is not failure. It is memory made visible. The skin does not hide the years. It reveals them with gentleness, with truth. And the more you accept this, the more the skin responds with ease. Stress tightens it. Judgment hardens it. But acceptance, care, hydration, sleep, softness allows it to thrive, to glow, to breathe. Your skin is also an interface. It holds sensors for pressure, for temperature, for vibration. It maps the world in invisible detail. It tells you not only what is touching you, but how fast, how strong, how long. It helps you find your balance. It helps you grip. It helps you read the world without needing to see it. When your eyes are closed, your skin still knows. When you are lost in thought, your skin is still collecting truth. And sometimes it reveals what you cannot say. Blushing, sweating, trembling, these are messages. The skin is an honest messenger. It does not know how to lie. And because of this, it is often the part of you others trust first. A handshake, a kiss on the cheek, a warm hug. These are not customs. They are confirmations of life shared between skin and skin. Now picture your skin as a field of light, each pore a window, each nerve ending a doorway. Light flows in, feeling flows out. The world meets you here not just on your face, but on your shoulders, your hands, your feet, your back. You are not isolated. You are always in contact. Let this be your reminder. Your skin is not decoration. It is not just something to be covered, painted, altered, judged. It is your boundary and your bridge. It is your shield and your softness. It is a map and a mirror. And it listens to light, to touch, to emotion, to time, always. Let us return now to the surface, where the world meets your body, where light touches life, where the skin listens quietly. You are wrapped in something remarkable, a living sheet of sensation and protection, a responsive veil that both hides and reveals, both guards and welcomes. This skin, your skin, has stayed with you through every change. It has grown with you, healed with you, aged with you. It has not forgotten a single season, and though it makes no sound, it remembers everything. When you sit in sunlight, your skin drinks it in not like water, but like warmth. The light moves gently through the upper layers, waking ancient codes in your cells. In that moment, your body becomes part of the day. You are not just standing in light. You are being written by it. The color in your cheeks, the gold in your arms, the gentle deepening of tone, these are the body's conversations with the sky. The sun does not mark you out of punishment. It leaves fingerprints of presence. But even the absence of light is honored. In darkness, your skin softens, the receptors rest, the pores settle. Melatonin rises from within, telling the body that night has come. The skin, like the rest of you, follows the earth's rhythm. It does not fight the dusk. It listens to it. This listening is what keeps you in balance day to night, warmth to cool, exposure to shelter. Your skin is the gate between cycles. Every night as you sleep, your skin renews itself. Dead cells fall away. New ones rise beneath. Wounds knit quietly. Oils redistribute. The skin takes this time to do its deepest work. You may not notice it when you wake. You may rush to the mirror distracted by a line, a blemish, a shade. But underneath, something faithful has been happening, repair. Your skin is tending to you even in rest. And when you feel the world too closely, when a brush against the shoulder startles you, when heat overwhelms, when even fabric feels too loud, it is not weakness. It is sensitivity. It is a system turned all the way up. Some skins feel more. They read the world with finer ink. This is not a flaw. It is a gift that asks for care. Softer clothes, calmer light, fewer sharp textures. The skin will tell you what it needs if you are willing to listen. Think now of how your skin connects you to others. A newborn curls into a parent's chest, soothed by warmth and heartbeat. Lovers rest in silence, cheek to shoulder, letting the stillness speak. Friends clasp hands in comfort, not needing to speak at all. The language of skin is older than speech, and sometimes it is the only language that works. In illness, in sorrow, in reunion. A hand, a hug, a brush of fingers, these are the translations of presence. And not all touch is human. The feel of cool water, the weight of a pet curled on your legs, the rustle of leaves brushing your arm, the warm breeze through your hair. The skin recognizes these too. They are not just environmental cues, they are relationships. Your skin speaks with the earth all the time, and in those exchanges, calm is created. A reminder you belong here. Over time, your skin collects more than sensation. It collects sunlight. It holds onto scars. It carries pigment shaped by ancestry. It responds to illness, to food, to stress, to joy. And it expresses your state before you say a word. In times of anxiety, it may flush or sweat. In peace, it may cool and glow. In pain, it tightens. In comfort, it relaxes. The skin knows not because it thinks, but because it feels, always. Let us remember also the skin's relationship with time. You do not have the same skin you had 5 years ago. Its cells have turned over, its surface has changed. But something deeper remains, the memory, the pathways, the patterns. Time writes in the skin with lines and tone and texture. This is not something to erase, it is something to honor. A forehead line from years of thinking, crow's feet from years of laughter, a faint mark where life touched you deeply. These are not flaws. They are features of your story. Your skin adapts even now, to climate, to temperature, to stress, to touch. It adjusts oil production, barrier strength, sensitivity. It is a living interface shifting with each season of your life. Even after burns, even after injury, even after long nights or long years, it keeps trying to be whole. It keeps trying to be soft. That is its nature. And in times of illness, the skin becomes messenger again. It may change color, it may itch, it may crack. These are not random events. They are calls for attention, a lack of hydration, a change in immunity, a signal from within. And when you respond with lotion, with rest, with medicine, the skin receives your help. It does not hold a grudge. It simply begins again. Some people live with skin that behaves differently: eczema, vitiligo, psoriasis, burns, scars. These conditions do not make the skin less. They make it more visible in its dialogue. They tell a deeper story of inflammation, of healing, of boundaries shifting, of resilience. The skin is not failing in these cases. It is asking. It is responding. It is expressing in the only way it can. Now let yourself notice the sensation of your own body, the feel of your clothes, the press of your feet on the ground, the warmth at the back of your neck. These are not distractions. They are doorways back to the present. Your skin is always inviting you home, not to your thoughts, not to your worries, but to your body, to your breath, to now. So place a hand on your chest, not to fix, not to evaluate, just to feel your heartbeat beneath, your breath moving, your skin receiving the moment. This is what the skin is for, not for perfection, for presence. The skin that listens to light also listens to silence, to kindness, to sleep, to slowness. And in every moment it continues. It covers you. It opens you. It teaches you how to feel the world and be felt in return. Let it remind you you are touchable, you are changing, you are still healing. Let it protect you. Let it hold you. Let it listen. A wound is not just a break in the skin. It is a conversation, a rupture that invites every part of the body to listen, to respond, to gather itself. When the skin splits, when the barrier opens, the body does not scream, it whispers. It sends soft signals through nerves and blood, through heat and swelling, through the gentle ache of being torn and the quiet determination of becoming whole again. Pain is not punishment. It is a language, one that says, something has changed. Come closer, begin. From the moment a wound appears, the body begins its reply. Blood rushes forward, not in panic, but in purpose. Platelets crowd the site like first responders, linking arms to form a clot, to hold back the flood, to seal the opening. Fibrin weaves through them like thread in a loom, building a net that catches life and holds it steady. This is not chaos. This is orchestration. And beneath it, signals travel like wind, summoning cells, preparing tissue, laying the groundwork for what comes next. Inflammation follows, the redness, the warmth, the swell. It is not a flaw. It is a flag waving gently to say, we are here, the repair has begun. White blood cells arrive, called by chemical beacons, and they do not hesitate. They clear debris. They remove invaders. They clean the stage. Macrophages, shaped like open mouths, swallow what should not remain. They do not do this angrily. They do it with purpose, with memory, with love for the structure they protect. Then comes the rebuilding. Fibroblasts arrive with bundles of collagen, weaving new tissue like a tailor mending cloth. Capillaries grow into the space, tiny rivers forming where there was once silence. Oxygen flows. Nutrients follow. Cells divide with quiet grace, multiplying not in panic but in rhythm. Each one knows where to go. Each one knows what shape to become. The wound is not just closing. It is remembering how to be whole. And pain remains not as cruelty but as instruction. It slows your movements. It invites your stillness. It reminds you not to rush. Pain teaches boundaries. It reminds you where you end and where the world begins. It is not an enemy. It is a guide. And in its quiet persistence, it ensures that healing is not only possible but respected. Some wounds are visible, a scrape, a cut, a burn, but others live deeper in tissue and muscle, in the places you cannot see. The body knows them too, and still others reside in memory, in emotion, in history. These wounds do not bleed, but they whisper just as loudly. They change posture, they stir breath. They make you flinch without cause, and the body listens to them too, even if you do not. The nervous system stores these echoes. Pain that once served a purpose may linger even after the tissue has healed. This is not a failure. It is a form of vigilance. The nerves remember what once hurt in case it returns. This memory can become a burden, but it is also proof of the body's devotion. It does not forget you. It does not stop watching. And still healing happens. Scar tissue forms different in texture, in color, in strength. It is not less than the original. It is simply honest. It says, I was broken and now I am whole again, though not the same. The scar is not a flaw. It is a line of poetry in flesh, a marker of time, a testimony of repair. Even bones, when broken, do not despair. They form a callus, a temporary sleeve of strength, while osteoblasts knit the fracture from the inside out. The healed bone, in time, becomes as strong as before, sometimes stronger. This is not luck. It is the body's blueprint unfolding in quiet devotion. And it happens without thought, without command, without applause. And what of the heart? The wounds that cannot be stitched with thread or gauze, the betrayals, the losses, the sudden silences. The body responds to these too. The chest tightens, the breath shortens, the stomach folds. The body does not divide itself between emotional and physical pain. It receives all pain in the same cathedral. It prays for the same repair. And over time it offers its answer: sleep, softness, movement, weeping, stillness. These are not weaknesses, they are medicine. The immune system, too, plays its part. T cells gather like quiet guardians. B cells offer memory. Antibodies swirl through blood, seeking patterns, learning danger, preparing for the next time. The immune response is not war, it is education. And every wound teaches it something new. The body learns from harm. It becomes wiser. It becomes more prepared. And while the world rushes, healing takes its time. It does not hurry because it cannot. Tissue must grow slowly with purpose. Cells must align like dancers learning a new choreography. Blood must flow at just the right pace. Healing is not a task. It is a tempo, and the body knows the rhythm even if your mind forgets. So you are asked to rest, to hydrate, to nourish, to wait. These are not passive acts. They are active participation in your own healing. Every hour of sleep, every breath of clean air, every bite of nutrient, these are tools. They are threads in the cloth your body is weaving back together. Some wounds reopen. That is their way, not to harm, but to remind. Healing is not a straight line. It curves, it dips, it tries again, and still it continues. There is no shame in slow repair. There is no failure in needing more time. In the quiet moments when you press your hand to a place that aches, know that your body is listening. It does not ignore your touch. It does not turn away. It hears you. It responds in chemicals, in pulses, in warmth. That heat you feel is not illness. It is work. The wound is alive, and it is trying. Let the body keep whispering. Let the cells keep arriving. Let the scar be a blessing. Let the pain be a teacher. And let yourself believe, even if only for a moment, that you are healing because you are. You are healing even now. Let us now wander deeper into the hidden places of healing, those silent spaces where wounds speak in warmth and aching, where the body arranges itself like a choir humming softly in the dark. Not all healing is seen. Much of it lives beneath the skin, beneath awareness, beneath explanation. It is not just tissue being sewn. It is memory being rewritten. It is the body relearning itself. And every wound, large or small, invites the body into this slow and sacred act of restoration. Inside the wound there is choreography. The cells do not move randomly. Fibroblasts lay down collagen in purposeful threads. Endothelial cells form capillaries like streams weaving through rock. Epidermal cells begin to migrate across the surface, as if remembering where the edges used to be. There is no central commander. Each cell follows the cues whispered by the ones beside it. Together, they remember wholeness. Together, they rehearse return. This is regeneration, but it is also wisdom. For some wounds are not meant to vanish. They leave behind scars, maps of where the body once tore and was rebuilt. A scar is not a weakness. It is a permanent note written in the language of survival. It says, "You were broken here and you mended." It says, "Something happened and you made it through." In this way, scars are reminders not of pain but of process. Pain, too, transforms. What begins as sharp and sudden may settle into dullness, into throbbing, into quiet warning. This shift is not just comfort, it is signal. The body, sensing progress, adjusts its tone. It no longer screams, it hums. And even that hum, soft as it may be, continues to guide you where to step carefully, when to rest, how much to carry. The wound speaks in thresholds, and the body listens without pride or resistance. And still, healing is not a single path. It branches. Some days the wound tightens, others it opens slightly again. This is not failure, this is feedback. It is the tissue asking for breath, for care, for time. You may want to rush to bandage it and move on, but the body does not obey urgency. It moves only at the pace of growth, cell by cell, breath by breath. Sometimes the wound leaves behind more than a scar. It changes the way you move. It changes your threshold for sensation. A deep cut may make the skin less sensitive or hypersensitive. The nerves, having once been injured, adjust their thresholds. They become cautious. They become alert. And while this may feel frustrating, it is also a form of loyalty. The body is not trying to betray you. It is trying to protect you, even if imperfectly. Think now of chronic wounds, those that linger, that do not close. They are not stubborn out of spite. They remain open because something within the system is asking to be seen. Circulation, immunity, inflammation, all must work together. When they do not, the wound waits. And in that waiting is a deeper invitation, to nourish, to balance, to listen more closely. Chronic wounds are not simply skin deep. They are echoes of internal misalignment. And still the body does not give up. It continues to try. It continues to send cells, to adjust blood flow, to signal for help. It will try for weeks, for months, for years, not out of habit but out of hope. Even a wound long forgotten by the mind is still remembered by the tissue. The body is always keeping score, always tending the ledger of harm and repair. Let us drift now into the emotional landscape. Wounds of the heart, of the mind, of the memory. These do not bleed, but they pulse. They show themselves in posture, in sleep patterns, in the way the voice trembles on certain words. Emotional wounds follow a similar path: shock, inflammation, clearing, rebuilding. But here, too, the healing is quiet. There is no timetable. There is no measuring tape. There is only the patient return to presence. And like physical wounds, emotional ones invite scar tissue, a shift in how you relate to others, a new softness, or perhaps a new caution. You may not trust as easily. You may guard your joy more closely. This is not weakness. This is a sign of healing. The heart, like the skin, remembers where it has torn, and it shapes itself accordingly. The nervous system plays its part. When pain is expected, the brain prepares. It may heighten alertness. It may change the way signals are processed. This is known as central sensitization, the body's way of saying, "I remember this." It is not imagining pain. It is echoing it, and in some cases, the echo is louder than the original sound. But the nervous system can unlearn too. With safety, with time, with softness, the signals can recalibrate. The body can be taught that the danger has passed. This, too, is healing, the reprogramming of response, the rewriting of pathways, not through force but through repetition, through gentleness, through presence. And now imagine the rituals we perform for wounds: the cleaning, the wrapping, the ointments, the kisses placed on bandages. These are more than habits. They are signals to the body, to the self, to say, "I see you, I will help you mend." The smallest child understands this. A scraped knee is soothed not only by antiseptic but by attention, by care, by being held. There is magic in this care, not mystical but molecular. Touch can reduce cortisol, increase oxytocin, lower blood pressure. Even the act of resting your own hand on your own heart changes the chemistry of healing. The wound responds not only to medicine, but to meaning. And so healing becomes not just an act of biology, but an act of belief. You must believe the wound can close. You must believe the body remembers how. You must believe that pain, though real, is not permanent. This belief does not cure, but it accompanies. It lifts. It allows the healing to unfold with less fear. Consider, too, the wounds carried between generations, traumas inherited not only in story but in structure. Science has begun to show that stress can mark the body at the level of genes, shaping the expression of future generations. These, too, are wounds, quiet ones, but not beyond healing. Awareness is a balm. Compassion is a salve. Even ancestral pain can begin to soften when held with care. The body does not distinguish between the old and the new, between the seen and unseen. It only asks, is there harm? Is there healing? And it responds again and again, with effort, with silence, with grace. So let your wounds be what they are: not proof of weakness, but proof of life. Let the pain remind you that you are whole enough to feel. Let the healing remind you that you are made of something that mends. And let the slow, whispering work beneath your skin remind you that even now, especially now, the body is on your side. The closing of a wound is never just a medical event. It is a quiet rite, a ceremony held beneath the skin, where cells bow to each other and promise to try again. What was once torn begins to reweave itself, not back to what it was, but into something new. The scar that forms is not a trace of damage, but a monument to resilience. In that thin line or raised tissue or faded pink glow, the body leaves its signature. I was hurt and I came back. But healing never truly ends with closure. Even when the surface looks smooth, the story continues. Nerves regrow slowly, stretching like vines searching for their way. Sensation may return in flickers, a tingle here, a ghost of warmth there, or it may not return at all. Still, the skin learns to speak differently, to sense in new ways. The body is never defeated by its silence. It simply listens more closely through other paths. And deep beneath the healed skin, in the marrow of bones and the folds of fascia, the body remembers. It recalls the pull, the rupture, the sting. It does not obsess. It does not replay. But it holds that memory like a bookmark, not to relive it, only to know what to avoid next time. This is how wisdom settles into tissue, not in fear but in awareness. The wound is not forgotten, but neither is it feared. Over time, something soft happens. You begin to see your wound not as interruption but as instruction. You touch the scar not with shame but with tenderness. You remember what it taught you about slowing down, about caring for yourself, about how pain shapes patience. The wound that once burned becomes a place of understanding, and in that understanding, healing deepens. In nature, wounds are everywhere. Trees break and regrow. Rivers flood and recede. The earth itself trembles, splits, reshapes. Nothing in the natural world remains untouched. Everything bears the marks of weather, of time, of touch. But nothing stops growing. Not really. Growth finds a way, even through scars. And so it is with you. A wound is not a pause in your life. It is a passage. It asks something of you, not just to recover but to notice. To notice the limits of your body, the generosity of rest, the strength it takes to ask for help. These are not lessons you read in books. They are etched into your skin, into your breath, into your being. Even the smallest injury teaches. A paper cut, thin and sharp, reminds you how often you use your hands, how many times you reach for something without thinking. A stubbed toe reminds you of presence, of slowness, of attention to where you are. A pulled muscle shows you the line between effort and excess. The body is always teaching. The wound is the chalkboard. Healing is the lesson written in slow, invisible ink. And some wounds open doors to others. Not all healing is physical. Sometimes the body breaks open just enough to let emotion rise, long-held grief, old memory, hidden fatigue. You may cry without knowing why. You may dream of things you forgot. This is part of it too. The body is not a closed room. It is a landscape, and wounds are the cracks through which air and light return. In the company of others, healing grows faster, not because of magic but because of presence. A wound wrapped by another's hands, a meal cooked when you couldn't stand, a phone call when you felt forgotten. These are balms. These are medicine. The body heals not just through cells but through connection, through being seen, being held, being known in your need. And when you heal others by listening, by helping, by simply being there, something in you mends as well. Compassion is not just kindness. It is mutual repair. Each act of care is a thread added to your own wound stitching. You do not heal alone, and you do not heal only yourself. There will be times when wounds seem too deep, when pain lasts longer than expected, when scars ache years later. This too is natural. Healing is not perfection. It is persistence. It is presence. It is saying, I am still here, even when the body is slow, even when the mind doubts. Some wounds do not close completely, but even open they can be lived with. Even hurting, you are whole enough. Let the world not rush you. Let the body take the time it needs. Let healing be as slow as moss growing over stone, as quiet as snow melting from the edge of a branch. You do not need to prove you are fine. You need only breathe. To breathe is to believe that something in you is still moving forward. And when you see your scars, visible or not, let them remind you of your softness. Not your fragility, but your flexibility. Not your breakage, but your ability to bend and return. You are not ruined. You are reformed. So rest your hands over the places that have hurt. Thank them, bless them, listen to them. They are still talking, but not in pain anymore, in peace. They say, you've made it through. They say, you're still becoming. They say, you are already enough. The wound, now quiet, becomes part of your wholeness. It no longer needs tending. It no longer needs to speak. It rests within you like a chapter in a long and unfinished book, one that shaped the rest of the story. And in that story there is no shame, only growth, only change, only healing.